Hello! Welcome to the Natalie Enjoys Knitting podcast. My name is Natalie. I enjoy knitting. This is my podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. I will share from my perspective. Life is really lifing. I am going through it. Things are up, things are down. They're also in between. And we're just showing up. So here I am. I'm showing up for you all. I have my notes per usual. This time I printed them. So this is episode 3. I'll probably still be referring to these notes as we go. But I welcome you here in this space. If you are a knitter, if you are someone who loves yarn, if you are someone who just likes a good vibe and you want to vibe with me, this is not a space where you have to be perfect or know all the answers. You just get to experience being loved. Because if you're watching this, I love you so much. And I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so proud of you. And we are in this together. So I invite you to take a beat, take this time. Maybe if you're working on a project, work on your project, sip some tea, and enjoy. I am not sipping tea today. It's actually rainy today, which is nice because it's cooled down, but it is the end of July, almost August. I don't know when this will come out on the air. So whenever it's coming out for you, it is the swampy part of summer. So I am drinking my trusty dusty water bottle. It's good to stay hydrated. What you can expect in this episode, we'll go through some finished objects. I have 3 finished objects. We'll talk works in progress. I have 3 of those as well. We'll have, special segment today is stash maintenance. Just some thoughts and reflections on what it means to have a stash and what to do. That came up for me recently as I was getting rid or preparing to get rid of some yarns from my yarn stash. And then we'll chat yarny things and say goodbye. If that sounds good to you, stay, hang out. I'm so glad you're here. Before we dive in, I will share what I'm wearing. So this is the, time to get out the notes. This is the all-season vest by Noriko Ichikawa. It's a Japanese designer. I don't speak Japanese, so bear with me on pronunciation. But the all-season vest, I created this one out of Moonshine by Jupiter Moon Farms. The colorway is amber, which is this orange color. I will say, I think this yarn, like the pattern called for like a DK weight, and this yarn is a little more on the worsted Aran weight side. So it came out a bit oversized for me, but I love it. I find it so comfy. Sometimes I wear this actually just on its own. In cooler months, I also throw it on over literally anything, and it makes me feel more polished and pulled together. I will say something about this yarn. It's very luxurious. It's very soft and drapey. I loved working with it, but it does pill quite a bit. So this vest, I've had to remove the pills a few times. I don't mind doing that. So, take it or leave it. But that is a truth of this yarn I have found. Moonshine, and then there's also like a Moonshine finer weight. I think it's like a sport weight. I've knit a cardigan with that, and it also pills. So I think it's just any of the Moonshine yarn bases, maybe more pilly, but it makes sense. It's, I should have mentioned this. It's like a wool and silk blend, maybe wool, silk, alpaca. So, luxury fibers, you've got trade-offs. With softness comes maybe some pilling. Anyways, it's a rainy day. I've got my water. I've got my knitting. Let's do it. Let's hang out. Okay, so finished projects. My first finished project, I gotta get it, is dun, 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 this gorgeous child-sized sweater. So, I'm looking at the camera so I can position this not where I'll put my little images. So this sweater I am calling my Rainbow Baby sweater, and the pattern is the Mini Moby by Petite Knit. The yarn that I used is Alpaca Elegance. Oh, I skipped a page. Here we go. The yarn that I used is Alpaca Elegance by Green Mountain Spinnery in this gorgeous gray color. I think it's called Earl Grey. I'm not 100% on that. I knit this sweater as a response to knitting an adult size of the sweater, which, sneak peek, might be one of my other finished objects. But I did finish this one first. That's why I'm sharing it first. And yeah, I wanted to have a matching sweater for my daughter. She is 2 years old, and this is the size for a 4-year-old. So my hope is that this winter time and also next winter time, she will be able to wear this. I tried it on her. It is a little big, but she could wear it now. So that's kind of in line with my hopes. And it flew by. I have to say, as is the norm with petite knit patterns, really well written. The charts are very clear. I didn't run into any speed bumps really along the way. I think one way that I differed from the pattern is that, and this is commonplace for me, when I picked up the armhole stitches, I just had more than what she recommended you have. So I just reduced down to the recommended amount. And otherwise, everything is to pattern. I did have my daughter try it on and she loved it. I think she also loved having a mommy matching sweater. She did say it was hot after a few minutes, which makes sense because it is July, so it is hot. But hopefully she will enjoy wearing it. I think it looks great on her. I really like that this is a very accessible cabled sweater. Like, you have this cable down the edge, and then you have like these like cross hatching things in the center, which I guess, let me hold up. I guess it's technically a type of cable, but it's like mini cable. So everything is easy to do without a cable needle if you're comfortable trying that. And then the rest, like the underarms and these edges, the side seams, are all moss stitch, which is really great because I feel like moss stitch hides a multitude of sins. Tension issues, like stitches that needed to be added or decreased along the way. And it comes out looking very nice. So that is my mini Moby sweater. I will say too, it was so much fun creating something for my daughter to wear. I make gift knits often enough, but I just love seeing her joy, and I'm excited for future knits for my baby. Although I also love to knit for myself, so I am my own baby in that sense. Let's move on. The next finished object that I have to share is surprise, surprise, it is an adult size. Oh, let me put here. It is the adult size Moby sweater. This one is actually the male pattern. So Petite Knit has the Moby sweater, which is designed for women. She has the Moby man, and then she has the Moby mini. I think she also has a Moby baby sweater. So like the whole family, you've got patterns for the whole family. Otherwise, the details are all the same. It's the same yarn, Alpaca Elegance by Green Mountain Spinnery. The color is gray, and it's the same sweater. So all the techniques are the same. I'll share a bit more background of this one. So I talked about this a bit in my last episode, but my first trip to Rhinebeck was in 2023. And when I was there, I saw this yarn by Green Mountain Spinnery, and I just fell in love with it. It's like got all the woolliness that you want in a woolly wool, but the alpaca makes it very soft. And also it's from Vermont, and I'm from Vermont. So I just was like, oh, I have to have it. So at that time, um, I was in a relationship and I bought enough yarn to knit sweaters for me and my partner. Then later, the relationship ended. And I had already knit like the full body minus the sleeves. And I was just like, I don't know what to do with this sweater. So I'm not going to do anything. It just was sitting in my like yarn stash whip bin for a while. Um, but then the mojo returned when I wanted to knit a sweater for my daughter because she was born the year following. And I thought, okay, after I knit her sweater, I was like, I don't want this to go to waste. It's gorgeous. I also don't want to give it to anyone else because it means so much to me, like the trip to Rhinebeck, the yarn that I use, the fact that my daughter has a matching sweater. So there wasn't like the right person to give it to. So I am giving it to myself. And for that reason, I am calling it the I'm the Man sweater. I am a woman. I identify as a woman, but I can be the man too when the case calls for it. I could be whatever I want to be. You can too. So this sweater is a bit oversized for me. It's the male size large, but it actually fits very comfortably. And this is a note that I'll make to myself because I often just follow the recommended sizing for a pattern, like how it's designed to fit based on your bust measurement. Most patterns will give you like the finished measurements and then the amount of suggested ease. So positive ease meaning inches or centimeters larger than your bust, or inches or centimeters smaller. That would be negative ease. And so based off of that, that's usually how I choose my size. But this oversized fit leads me to feel that I might just enjoy oversized sweaters. And when you're knitting a sweater, you can literally make whatever size you want. And at this point, I am confident enough that I could modify things like sleeve length or like body length if I needed to. So I may be doing that more in the future. It's just so cozy and squishy. I feel like I can wear this casually with leggings or something, or I could dress it up with like a cute skirt or, you know, I don't know, something. And it's also, I have this feeling it's gonna last a really long time. Like this yarn, oh my God, when I was working with this yarn, I felt like, you know how yarn, especially wool yarn, maybe only wool yarn, has lanolin in it. Lanolin comes from the sheep and it's like just the oils that are on the wool of the sheep. I felt like I was getting a little like spa session for my hands when I was knitting on this. It just felt like hydrating and a little warming because like the friction of the yarn. And I just, like the sweater's gorgeous, but 100% worth my time just for having that experience with the yarn. So I highly recommend both the yarn and the pattern. And we will move on. Yeah. Oh, before we move on, one thing I was going to say about this is that it may not be next to skin soft for everyone. I tried it on with like a tank top and it felt fine, but it kind of had that sensation, or especially around like the neck, um, where I felt like, okay, if you had really sensitive skin or like a wool allergy, then this might be a bit irritating for you to wear on the skin. So, those are my 2 cents. If you choose this yarn in the future for your own projects. Let's move on. My final finished object to share is actually a gift. So this is a gift from my best friend who recently had a birthday. If you are watching, I don't think she watches this. If you are watching, friend, skip this session unless you've already received this gift, in which case, take your leave. But these are some socks. I'll hold them closer. These are, I'm calling them like birthday socks for my bestie because that's what I feel like maybe I get my face out of the shot. There we go. These are the Hermione Everyday socks. The pattern is by Erica Lueder. And I knit it up. It has like this lovely seed stitch texture. I knitted up, I did 2x2 rib, the pattern, everything else is to pattern, like the heel flap and gusset is a modified Eye of Partridge heel, which that's how the pattern is written, but that's also my preferred heel anyways. And then just like a regular foot and a rounded toe. Beep, beep. Focus. There we go. Ooh. Okay. It's got toes on there. I'll work on the camera focusing later. I'll probably put in some clips or something as well of all of the projects at the beginning or the end. But the yarn I used for this is Ultimate Sock by Malabrigo. This is the colorway Valentina. And I actually got this yarn, oh my gosh, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I used it to knit a sweater. I held it together with some mohair, and it was lovely for that purpose. This was also early on in my yarny adventure days. So it was one of the first times I purchased. Oh, and by the way, this is a finished object. I probably should have trimmed these ends. I just blocked it, and like, you know, maybe you don't know, but some of you may. You know how like when you're blocking and the fibers expand and then come to rest in their final position, sometimes ends come like poking out of their hidden holes that you've tucked them into. So I found that I still weave in the end, and then I just leave the tail hanging, and then I trim that after blocking. So sorry about that. I'll just tuck it in so we don't have to see it. Where I was like, okay, the yarn. Yeah, so Malabrigo Ultimate Sock. It's a 25% nylon, 75% merino. I think those are the percentages. It's definitely a nylon merino kind of blend, 2-ply. I really like it. It's soft. I think especially for gift socks, it's very nice. It has like a nice luster to it. The color is gorgeous. I will say from experience using this yarn base before, it is not as hard wearing as some other sock yarn bases. I may do a deep dive in a different video because I've knit quite a few socks at this point, but I sometimes think slightly more rustic yarn or alternately like a 4-ply just wears better, like after wearing and washing several times. But I think this will hold up very well for my friend. She's very knit worthy, so I trust her to cherish and take care of them well, which is nice. You know, like, I don't know if you found this along the way of your knitting journey, but like, unless someone also crafts or unless someone just like has an appreciation for what it takes to create something, I have had the experience where I spend hours, like hours and days and weeks of my life slaving over some project that I give to someone just to have them, yes, show appreciation, but then like not wear it. And obviously, I don't want people to wear things they don't want to wear. So I don't feel like anyone owes me something for giving them a gift. But it kind of showed me that like it's okay to just give someone a gift card or some item that you buy from the store and save the knitting time and effort for like yourself or for loved ones who will really actually enjoy that item. So this will go off to my friend, hopefully this afternoon or tomorrow, because I already missed her birthday, but you know, knitting socks takes time and I think it's worth it. And I hope she will enjoy them. One or two other notes about this pattern. So I've used it quite a few times, the Hermione everyday sock pattern. I highly recommend this one for just like you've got a nice skein of yarn, you don't know what to do with it. It knits up pretty quickly and I think would be flattering with most like colors or even like variegated yarns. I usually do a long tail cast on. This time I tried the German twisted cast on just to try something new. And I also knit the first round with the yarn held double. So like the yarn tail held together with the actual yarn length for the first round. And my hope is that that kind of helps with flaring. So I won't know unless my friend shows me, but I found with many socks that I knit that like the top of the cuff starts to like flare out over time as it's worn. So we'll see. That was different from other times I've knit this, but otherwise I knit it to pattern. So that is my last finished object. let's move on to whips. I hope this off-center, this is a side note, I hope this off-center thing is good. Like, I hope you can see me and hear me well. In editing, as I put my hand, in editing, I've been like pasting in pictures and stuff as I go. And I noticed sometimes the pictures would like cover up whatever I was showing and holding up. So yeah, I don't know. It's a work in progress. The podcasting is a creative project in the same way that the knitwear is. And let me know if you have ideas or feedback about that, because I want to make sure you all can enjoy this time. So, the first whip I have to share with you all, the first work in progress, is what I am calling my morning walks with Mom Shawl. It is the pattern is the pressed flowers pattern. Let me try and unfurl this. It's a triangle shawl that uses mosaic color work techniques to create this flower pattern. I think this pattern is pretty popular, so if you're in knitting YouTube ravelry, you probably have seen it before. I knit this before for myself. That pattern I called Covered in Petals. I knit that in Barocco, like a Barocco alpaca wool blend. And I just used 2 colors for that one. And I love that shawl so much. It's literally one of my go-tos to just throw on when I'm running out of the house or something, or even just sitting on the couch like I want to be a little warmer. And because that one is so close to my heart and I love it, and also my mom has a birthday coming up in a couple of months, I thought it would be nice to make her one. So this one, I'm actually using multiple skeins and multiple colors. I had this yarn in stash for a while. I originally thought I'd make a quilt cushion cover by Laura Penrose using this yarn. And then I just, you know what it is? I made 2 of the quilt cushion covers and I was just like quilt cushioned. I was just quilt cushioned out. I was like, I don't feel like doing that again. It's a great pattern. It's not the pattern's fault. It's just like me wanting to switch it up. So I never did that. And when I was thinking of making this shawl for my mom, I just thought these colors would be perfect for her. She is a bright spring color palette, and I am a warm autumn color palette. And actually, for the warm autumn palette, really bright colors sometimes don't, you could wear whatever you want, but like at least for me, sometimes I find that they're like too overpowering, that they pull light away from my face. So I prefer like this is kind of a more muted orange. It's still orange, but it's not like in your face orange, versus there's no orange on this, but you can kind of see, I think this is more in the bright spring color palette because you've got like this pink color. I should tell you what yarn it is. The yarn is called, it's called Cottage Sock, and it's by Coats & Co. And I purchased it in Vancouver at the Hook and Needle yarn store. So the main color I'm using here is a strawberry, and getting back to color, it's like this bright pinky, a little peachy, but like bright pink. And then I had these mini skeins that I got along with it. And so I decided to just use the mini skeins as like the contrast color and sort of stripe them in. So we've got like this, let's see, dusty pink. Then you've got this like bright yellow. We've got a bright green. There's some white in there. I also have as like a third color, I'll incorporate this navy blue, which my mom tends to wear a lot of blue. So I think that will be appreciated by her. Yeah, I am for the most part just knitting this pattern the same way I did before. Some little differences. One is that this is a fingering weight yarn, so I did go down a needle size. I'm using US size 5 and the pattern calls for US 6. So that is different. I also probably will change up the border a little. I will either switch the main and contrast colors for the border, just because I've seen other people make this project and do that, and I think it looks really nice. Or even if I keep the border as written, I may put like a little edging in contrast color. So we'll see. That's something I did when I knit mine as well, and I think it looks really clean. Um, Checking my notes. One thing is, it's been interesting working with 4-ply. I've used 4-ply before to knit socks, and when I did that, it was at a much tighter gauge, like probably US size 1s or something. Using the US size 5s, I actually love the fabric. Like, I can tell it's going to be like a lightweight shawl. It's very drapey. It's very drapey. Um, but also like 4-ply, I don't know how to put this. If you're a knitter and you've noted this too, please let me know, because maybe you have the words to say it where I don't. It feels a little coarser on the hands than other yarns I've used to like knit shawls. So like I've used fingering weight singles, I've used 2-ply yarns, I've used like DK weight 2-ply yarns worsted to knit shawls. And this one is like, I think the 4-plies versus 2 makes it a tighter spin, which just means that like the yarn is more, I don't know how to say it, but like the fibers are more in on themselves, which means that it's a little bit rougher on the hands. I've been doing fine with this. Like, I've been knitting on it literally every day. So it's not like so rough that I can't work on it. But I just found that interesting. It's probably why 4-ply is a really good yarn for socks, because my thought is that with the tighter twist and the fibers more into the strand, then friction over time is less likely to create wearing and pilling, which for a sock is really good because you get a lot of friction on your socks. So maybe +1 for 4-ply for socks. Also, no regrets using it here for a shawl, but I don't know if I would do that in the future. So just a thought, but we'll see how it turns out, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, whip number 2. Whip number 2 is maybe familiar to you because it's actually a second vest of what I'm wearing now. So this is the All Season Vest by Noriko Ichikawa. Apologies on translations, just apologies. The yarn I'm using is John Arbon Knit by Numbers DK. So it's a DK weight yarn. The colorway is just a number. It's color 110. And it's this like golden, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but like not only is it brown, but it has like flecks of red and even slight flecks of like a blue kind of. And oh my gosh, we'll get to this, but you guys can see already like some tension stuff I'm going to talk about. Cover my face. So wonky tension. I'm just going to jump into that. I finished the body. So you start by knitting like a back panel. Let me put this into frame. You start by knitting a back panel, and then that's knit flat. Then you come to the front, you pick up stitches at the shoulders, and you knit flat for a right and a left side panel. And then you join those panels to finish knitting the front, and then you join in the round. So I have literally just joined in the round. I've done like one round of the body section. But in working on this and knitting flat, I have knit a fair number of sweaters. I obviously knit this vest before. And I'm an English styled knitter, which is, I want to say that's the throwing. I never got the use of the term throwing to describe English style knitting. So if you get that, you can explain it to me. but I know that I knit English style. And something that I've sometimes experienced with knitting flat stockinette is that like the purl rows are tedious. Like knitting knit stitches is great, and then the purl rows are just like take longer. Sometimes they cause more discomfort for my hands. So I was looking at that because I've knit this vest before. It's plain stockinette. I felt like I could experiment with new techniques, and I saw on Reddit that someone had figured out how to do Norwegian style purling, but for English style knitters. And just to break that down for you all, there are two primary styles of knitting. There are many more than these two, actually, but you have English and you have continental. And I won't get into what differentiates them, but they are different. The way that you insert the needle into the stitch and also the way that you hold the yarn and loop the yarn is different. And kind of like if you're right-handed and you use your left hand, I would say if someone typically used one style, they might feel a little awkward or wonky using the other style. Like combining styles can be done, but it's like another level of skill to reach in your knitting. And when I saw that there was this hack for like doing a Norwegian purl, which a Norwegian purl, to my understanding, is another style. It's different than continental, but it's similar to continental. And usually people use it. I don't know. I don't know why people use it, but in my understanding, what I've been exposed to, people are using Norwegian purling to speed up the purling process. It's like a much easier purl to do, a purl stitch. And so, yeah, I was so excited to try that. And I was like, F it. Like, this is a hobby. I don't need to get it perfect. Let me just try it. And I did. And it was not perfect. So, the technique, I think I will be able to refine over time. And I will just say this about knitting, like it's a journey and you can knit the way you want to knit, but for me, I don't want to be stressed about my knitting. So I don't need my finished objects to be perfect. I don't need every stitch to be perfect. I just want to enjoy the process. And that's how I know I'm getting something out of it. And this is an example of me trying a new skill, and maybe it impacts the quality of the finished object, but I'm just going with it. I'm going to enjoy it. If you can see, and I'll just, let's see, this is the front. I think the back exemplifies this more. At the top, I was doing my regular English style purling. And then maybe an inch or two down, let me try like this. Maybe an inch or two down is when I started Norwegian purling, and there is a major tension difference. Like I think my English style purls are much tighter, and then my Norwegian style purls are much looser. So the fabric does look different. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I hope this blocks out. And then I was like, this might not block out. And then I was like, I don't care. We're going to keep going anyways. So that's the status. But I love that I tried this method because I did see an improvement. Like as I practiced Norwegian purl, the tension got a bit more even. So I think if I did more practice, like in future projects or with swatches, it will be a really good option for me to like power through those stretches of stockinette that are not always fun, but worth it. Yeah, and just to feel like a stronger knitter overall. I will link below the video I found that explains this technique if you're interested, because I thought this is so cool. I've been knitting for years and I never knew that I could do Norwegian purling as an English style knitter. And yeah, you might be into that too. Okay. Oh, one more thing I meant to share about this is I knit this one in a size 2, and I like how it's a little oversized. And so I chose to knit this one in a size 3. So we'll see. My bust measurements are 34 inches, and I can't remember what the on gauge measurements are for that, but it'll probably be like 40 or 41 inches of ease. And kind of going back to what I shared with the Moby sweater, I was surprised how much I liked that extra spaciousness. And I think there's this pressure I feel. I don't know, maybe it's like a cultural pressure to like be a certain shape and size, but I always felt like, ooh, I want to look as slim as possible and wear the smaller size or something. I don't know, which doesn't even make sense when you consider that baggy clothes make people look slimmer sometimes. Um, but yeah, I just felt like I can break that mold. Where is that rule coming from? No one made a rule that says you have to wear your prescribed size. So we're breaking rules over here. Okay, that's enough on that one. I'm going to transition to my last whip. I'm going to drink some water while I'm at it. Whip number 3, final whip. There's not a lot of it. I'll hold up for you. I am calling this my life is. We'll focus this. Maybe I bring it closer. We're learning together, guys. Here we go. Yay! That's what I've got. We're hitting our time limits, so we'll see. We'll see what I fit in here. Returning to Life is Poetry Top. The pattern I'm using is Poet Top by Sari Nordlund. It is like one of those high neck, but like swoops in at the sides, kind of tank top. It's all lace. And I chose this one really because of the yarn. So I had this yarn. It is Expression Fiber Arts Oasis Camel Silk Light Fingering. And let's see. There we go. It's this gorgeous like lavender, light lavender color. And super luxe. I mean, with the camel and with the silk, very luxurious. I originally thought I might do, there was a knit along, I can't remember what it was called, but I'll try and link it down below, for a shawl last year. And the idea was like each month you'd knit a section of this shawl. Well, I bought the yarn for month 1 and I promptly never touched that project again. So I decided we're not doing that. But I still had this yarn and I wanted to find something nice for it. But I only have the one ball. So this is about 500 meters. It's light fingering weight. I think it was 100 grams. So I think this top will work well. I've heard some of Sari Nordlund's patterns, and this is true to my experience as well. The yarn requirements she lists are sometimes a little sparse, like people may need more yarn than what she lists. But I'm knitting a size 2. I think that requires like around 450 meters. I don't know if I'm thinking meters or yards. So I'll add in a note about that too in my like presentation section. But I think we'll make this work. And I can always make it a crop top if it doesn't work out. But we just started this one the other day. Really, I've only made a little bit of progress on it. I'm working more on the shawl for my mom, but it's so nice. This yarn is so nice. It just, I mean, it's silk. Like it just feels so nice on my hands. I just give a little time in the evenings sometimes, and it feels like a treat. So I'm excited to see how that one works up. I checked my notes, but that's all I had on that one. Okay, we're done with whips. It's over. Let's move on to the special segment. Today's special segment is about yarn stashes. And I could make a whole video about this, but I have a yarn stash. If you knit or fiber craft, you may as well. And I've been noticing this kind of cycle that happens with the way that yarn comes in and the way that yarn goes out. So how yarn comes in is maybe I'm traveling or maybe I visit a new store online or in person and I see a yarn I would love to use, or a content creator posts about it and it looks gorgeous. And so my mind starts going like, ooh, like what could I make with that? And a lot of time when I'm buying yarn, I have a project in mind. Like as I'm buying it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this specific pattern or this style of garment or whatever. And then I buy the yarn and I bring it home. And sometimes I cast on right away, but other times I put it in my yarn stash and then it stays there for a while. And that's fine. I may come back to it and make the intended garment, but what I've also found is sometimes when I come back to the yarn later, it's when I don't feel like making that garment anymore, or I have a different pattern in mind that's inspiring me. And, you know, not every yarn that I buy is yarn that I end up wanting to use. Like either because I realize, oh, I don't like knitting that fiber content as much as I thought I would, or I used to think I loved that color and now I don't wear that color anymore, and what would I make with it? And I used to have this like burden that I would feel that's like I have to use my yarn as intended, or like I have to use my yarn because I bought it. And I don't know if that's true for you. I know some creators have like these huge yarn stashes and collecting yarn is like its own hobby for them. I will say for me, I'm like a minimalistic person. So if I have things that I know I'm not going to use, it just gives me anxiety. It just gives me this feeling of like, oh, it's taking up space. What am I going to do with it? What is its purpose? And so something I've started allowing myself to do is periodically when I go through my yarn stash, I select yarns that I want to let go of, either to gift or to donate or to like sell on eBay or Ravelry or something. Um, and that's been so freeing. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you can get rid of yarn if you know you're not going to use it. So that's the gem. That's the gem of wisdom. I probably would have loved to hear that early on in my journey and ongoing in my journey. So I figured I'd share a few examples of what that looks like. I grabbed all of this stuff, but one example is this is a super special yarn I got at Rhinebeck, and it's just gorgeous. It's a mohair wool blend. It's in this moss green. It's so soft, even though it has mohair. Oh my gosh, even as I'm touching it, I'm like, I love this yarn so much. But the thing is, it's been like 3 years and I haven't touched it. And I've also learned that I don't like mohair on my skin. Like even the luxurious ones, it just doesn't feel good for me. And so then I was thinking like, what am I going to make with 2 skeins of DK weight mohair yarn? Like, am I going to gift it to someone? Am I going to make something like a household item? But like, I wouldn't make a dishcloth out of that. And it just became this thing in my mind that was taking up space. So I'm going to let it go. Even though it came from Rhinebeck, even though it's gorgeous, some other knitter will enjoy using that and it will be perfect for the project they have in mind. So that's kind of my philosophy on things. I have 2 more here. I won't speak to, but these were other special skeins. This is not spin cycle. I don't know. This is like a variegated yarn I got on a trip. This is like a hand dyed yarn I got on a trip. I'll put in the show notes those details, but you know what? They serve their purpose of bringing me joy when I purchased them, and now they can be free, and I will let them go onto the next person they will bring joy to. So yeah, those are my thoughts on yarn stash. I probably have a lot more I could say, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, do you ever feel guilty for not using yarn that you've already bought? And like, what do you do with that? What do you do about that? Or do you just feel guilty? I don't know. That's an option too. So, cool. I wanted to share some yarny things with you all. I just have one acquisition to share. Sometimes in this section, I'll talk about yarns that I have in stash that I'm planning to use. This is newly added to stash. Let's see. And it is, I'm learning the ways, y'all, with the camera. This is Rauma Garn Feeble. It's a Norwegian lamb's wool, Aran weight. I purchased this from the Woolly Thistle, which is brick and mortar. I think they're in New Hampshire, but they also have this great online store. And I already know what I'm going to make with this. I'm going to make the book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. It has been on my list. I have been influenced. I've seen the other people who made it. I think it's gorgeous. It's like all over cabled cardigan. And I think it will be a nice challenge for me. So I've made cardigans, I've made cabled sweaters, but I haven't done those things together. I was just browsing through projects on Ravelry of people who made this cardigan, and several people use this yarn. So that got me interested in it because I wanted like a non-superwash wool. I didn't really want to use merino actually because I find merino sometimes wears faster, and I want this to be like a long-lasting piece that I can just like throw on in almost any season, and it just always looks good. So when I saw people were using Rauma Garn, this has been one I wanted to try for a while. And I also had a gift card to Woolly Thistle. So the stars aligned. Yeah, and I got it in this, I don't know what colorway this is. Maybe I'll put in the notes if I find it, but it's this brown color, and I am starting a graduate school program. I'm doing my master's starting this fall, and my school's colors are brown. So I just felt like, oh, this will be my like back to school cardigan. I haven't decided what I'll call that project, like what I'll title it, but back to school cardigan is definitely in the works. So that is what I have for yarny things. Oof. Which brings us to the end, which is good for me because I think my camera is about to die. But not good for us because I love having you here and I hope you enjoyed your time. So thank you so much for watching. I'm really learning and growing. This is new to me to have a knitting podcast. I'd love your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, anything. Hey guys, it is editing Natalie here. My camera died, which is my phone. I use my phone to film, and my phone died at the end. So you all didn't miss much. I just want to tell you thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again on the next one. I hope whatever you're making is bringing you joy, and have a beautiful day. Bye.